Here we go. So it is 12 o'clock. And today is October the 2nd, and I am super glad to see you guys in here. It's kind of cool that we can do this virtually. I'm going to give you a couple of recommendations up front. If you have two screens, put your Collaborate screen in one session, or put your Collaborate session in one screen, and then open up Microsoft Word in the other screen. Now, before we get started and get into the class today, there's a couple of housekeeping things that I want to address. So first, I want to make sure that you guys know that you can talk. This is an interactive experience. This isn't just me standing up here just blurting stuff out to you guys. So if you want to try to release your microphone now so that you can see if you can speak, so that when you need it, you have it, go ahead and unmute yourself, say hello, and we'll just check for our technology. According to the software, it says that everyone has a great connection that's on here, and I have 4 participants. So Cynthia and Michael, and is it Tatalia and Chiquita and Lisa? Lisa's back on. If you guys want to release your mic and say hello, you absolutely can do that. Or your video, however you want to do it. Or not. You know, you don't have to. It's not required. Oh, Lisa says she doesn't have a microphone. That's okay, because I can still see your chats whenever you guys post in the chat. So that's cool too. I just wanted to let you know that as we make our way through today's session, this is a working experience. This is not just me like giving you stuff. If you've got a question, I want you to ask, and I want you to ask as we go along. So this is interactive. All right. So my name is Tori Quismondo, and I've been teaching computer classes at Fayetteville Tech for, I don't know, probably like 16 or 17 years. And I just moved over to doing some digital media stuff, which is super cool, but I am still excited about doing professional development because I still teach the certification class. So if anyone is interested, we offer a Microsoft certification section every single semester. It's a 16-week online class, and it goes over all this stuff here and more. So if you think you have an interest in that, we can absolutely get you into that class for the spring. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to share my screen. And there's a couple of things that I need to take care of before we get started. All right, so first off, you guys should be seeing a Microsoft Office Word document on your screen. And the first thing I want to mention is October 2, 16, and 23. So there are 3 one-hour sessions, and they're all at the same link. You can click into this link at any time if you want to, but the only time somebody will be on there to assist you is from 12 to 1 on October 2nd, 16, and 23rd. All right, so we're going to have a pre-test next week, which is October the 9th. Hey, guess what? If you pass it, good for you. That's awesome. You know, maybe you didn't need all this set of instruction. If you don't pass it, that's okay too, because what you can do is, 1, it gets your jitters out from taking the test, and 2, you know, it makes you more comfortable, and 2, it gives you a lot of the tasks that you guys will be seeing on your test. So, and it might be virtual. The testing might be virtual, which is kind of cool. It's something that they're trying to push on us now because of all the COVID stuff. They want you to be able to use your computer in your setting. It would still be at the times that we had discussed and the time that's on your schedule. However, it might be virtual, which means you can sit in your own space and do the test, and I sit in my office and proctor you. So we're going to try that out next week for the first time, I think. So also, the actual testing is on October 30th. But guess what? Let's say that you come in on October the 9th and you just knock it out of the park and you pass the test, and you're like, okay, when you guys test on October 30th, could I test on something else like PowerPoint? Absolutely. And I can send you the task for that. This way, you make sure to make the most out of your time. All right. So one of the things I need to mention is you guys will need to make sure that you create a Certiport account. And so if you are on a computer and you go to certiport.com, it's going to switch you over to the website of certiport.pearsonview.com. Testing is done through Pearson VUE. So you'll come over to the right-hand side and choose to log in or register. The thing I need to make sure that you understand about this is I can never help you with this username and password. And this username and password is required for you to test. If you've never created an account with Certiport before, you would want to register. And you'll go through the quick process of registering. It's really not that tough. It's just going to ask you some basic information, email address, your mailing address, because now once you take these tests, they actually send you your certificate in the mail. You don't have to wait for me to give you your certificate. So that's pretty cool too. So does anyone have any questions about testing schedule and creating a Certiport account? So let me check there before we move on. Awesome. You don't want to wait to create your Certiport account until the day that you're going to test, because you've got too much going on in your brain and you just don't want to have to do that last minute. So at some point between now and next week, create yourself a Certiport account, write down your username and password, make sure you have it somewhere so that you can find it, and you know, then you'll be good to go. So let me come back over to my Word document. So I think that's all of our housekeeping stuff. Let's go ahead and get started with some Word stuff, and let's see where it goes. Before we jump into these project tasks, I'm going to take a little bit of time and go over Microsoft Office with you. And for some of you, you might think like, you know what a waste of my time. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting through this. She has taken me through toddler steps, and I already know some of this. And that's okay too. But, you know, there's still a chance you could learn something, so hang with me for just a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about Microsoft Office Word. You guys do know that every employee, faculty, staff, and student at Fayetteville Tech gets a Microsoft account where you can log in and download Microsoft Office. If you're uncertain of how to do that, I can send you the information. And you can get the access to that. Once you log on to Microsoft Office 365, you have these online apps that you could use. I never ever recommend that you're using the online apps, because the reason for that, they're a light software. All right, it's the light software. If you have ever logged into your Outlook through web access, that's the exact same login that you use whenever you come in here and look at your account. So whether you're in Outlook or whatever you're looking at, this is where you come in and you can download your Microsoft Office to your home computer, and you get 5 downloads. So if you're thinking, well, you know, I wouldn't mind looking at some of this stuff from home, well, I mean, you do get the free software. So if you have a computer at home, you can download it to a PC, you can download it to a Mac, you can download it to a tablet. However, any tablet, unless you're using Microsoft Office Surface, is only going to give you the light version, because a tablet can't handle the full version. Most tablets are quite simply a browser, so where you can maybe sometimes download an app. So I would never, I mean, that's why public schools love using Chromebooks. They're a browser. You can access the internet. Not much you can do with it from there. So that's that. So any questions about access to the software, downloading the software, anything like that? You guys are cool with that? You guys all know that you get copies of these for your home use, and it's free from the school, right? Okay. I'm looking on the chat, and I don't see any questions about that, so I think we're good to go. All right, let me come in here and talk to you guys about Microsoft Office Word. Let's take a look at the application screen itself. If we look in the top left corner, this is called your Quick Access Toolbar. Is this going to be on your test? Probably not, but this is really important to know, and it's great information, and it can help you on your test because it can give you base knowledge. This is called your Quick Access Toolbar, and your Quick Access Toolbar, if you hit the down arrow button, try it. You have 2 screens, right? So on your screen that you have Microsoft Office Word in, click on it, open your Quick Access Toolbar. If you are constantly hitting print, then come down here and add Quick Print to your Quick Access Toolbar, and then guess what? When I go to hit print, it's 1 click. And I no longer have to say file, print, yes, right? Maybe I do a lot of emails. Guess what? If I add email to my Quick Access Toolbar, which I did, right? Email, I've added it. You can see the check. If I add that right there, guess what? I click it and it automatically attaches it, and I have to say who I want to send it to. So that's going to make sending your email way quicker. if you're trying to send something in an attachment. Because if not, you have to go in and open your Outlook and then decide who you're going to send it to and then attach it, when you can do it from the actual document itself. So obviously, like, you know, up here you can see that I have save and I have undo and I have redo, but I've added the email function and I've added the quick print. If I didn't want that anymore, I could uncheck it, or I can check it and add it back in. I really do like the email function. It saves me a lot of time personally. So you can go in here and modify. You can add anything, spelling and grammar, print preview. If you don't see what you want right here, if you click on more commands, guess what? It's going to give you every single option in Microsoft Office. So you could add anything to that quick access toolbar that's going to be beneficial to you. All right, any questions on the quick access toolbar? Awesome. I see that Lisa asked for the set of instructions. Are you asking for the project task? Because if you are, hold up. No, I don't want to hit print. Oh, I haven't emailed Lisa in a long time. Okay. Oh, the set of instructions. So you just log in, Lisa. Do you use the, so check this out. If you guys are on the internet and you go to the FTCC homepage and you go to, someone may have here because I don't do this very often. If you go to faculty, maybe it is faculty and staff right here. And there's a place where it says web. There's Outlook email right here. And that takes you to the link you need. When you go to Outlook email, that's the same place I just was. And so all you log in with your Active Directory. So, I mean, I can send you the set of instructions. Send me an email, Lisa, and I can send it to you. But if you just go to the school's website under faculty and staff and choose your Outlook email, that's the exact same link, and you just download it from there. There's a download button for you. So let me know if you need it. Send me an email and we'll double check you, make sure you got it. Okay? All right. So, okay, we were on the quick access toolbar. So this is our quick access toolbar, right? And everyone's pretty cool with that. And then the next thing I want to mention to you guys is this is your title bar. All right, and why are these things important? Well, because you may have a question that references it. You might. You know, the title bar says whatever, and you're like, I don't even know what the title bar is. So that's what is your title bar, and it's going to identify with whatever the title of your file is. Anytime you see a number 1 after a file, do you know that that means that you downloaded it twice? So that's your second download of it. So it just lets you know, hey, you already downloaded this and you downloaded it again. So anytime you get like a number 1 in parentheses, if you get another 2 in parentheses, that means you've downloaded it 3 times and that's your 3rd copy of it. So it has to rename it something else in the download. So it puts those little numbers after it. So that's what that is. Over here on the right-hand side, mine says that I'm logged in as Tori Quizmundo. I could change my account. If I had a personal account, I could say switch accounts, but I'm logged in as my Active Directory. And so when you go to Outlook, you've got to put in your Active Directory, which is your login at ad.faytechcc.edu. And you can get access to that Microsoft Office and download it. The next button that's over here is going to be your ribbon display options, which is super important because this happens to students a lot on their test, or it just happens in general. I can't tell you how many times students have asked me this. So this here, if you push the first button, your whole ribbon is going to go away. And you're like, hold on, like, I would like to see my ribbon. So if you choose to show the tabs, but you only get the tabs then, I've got all my tabs going across the top, but I'm not seeing any buttons. For me personally, that is not useful because I want to see all of my tabs and all of my buttons so that I can get my work done. I don't want to have to click and search to find everything. If I go right back to this button, then I can say show the tabs and the commands. Now I've got everything that I want to work with. So this button is really quite helpful, and it happens often, especially to students in the test because you've accidentally clicked somewhere and you'll remove your buttons and you don't even realize it. So that's how you can get them back. And then, of course, you know, you've got your minimize button. you've got your restore down and your close. We also have share, and we're not going to go deep into share, but I know some people say, I really love Google Docs because you can share Google Docs. You can share Microsoft Office too. Exact same process. So as long as you have 365, you have the sharing capabilities and you can share all of your files just like you do in Google Docs. And you can collaborate and work on them just like you do in Google Docs also. Let's take a look here at the very bottom of the page. It says that I'm on page 1 of 2. I have 707 words. And then take a look at this next little icon. This little icon here is going to check me for proofing errors. All right, so can I go up to review and choose spelling and grammar? Can I come up here and add it to my quick access toolbar? Absolutely. But guess what? There's already an icon here, and you see it's got an X in it. That X inside there means I have an issue. So if I'm trying to quickly get to where my issues are in my document, if I click that, it's going to bring me directly there and try to help me fix it. So it's a really quick fix for some things. If it's something that I don't actually need to fix, I can say ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, and keep going through the listing, and it will check it for me. And now, once I'm done, if I've checked everything and it's accurate, then it will have it'll have a little checkbox there. But I said ignore everything, so it still has that X because it's like, wait a minute, you know, you didn't fix all this stuff. So if you have a green check mark there, so if you have a check mark there, that means that it's accurate and correct, and you're good to go. So that's what that little icon is, in case you didn't know that one. Then if we take a look over here, we've got our display settings, which is going to be read mode. Typically, if you're using read mode, it's going to be a long document to put it in a book format for you. You also have the print layout format, which is typically what we use whenever we're working in our documents. And also, every single Word document could be saved as a web page, and this shows you what your web page would look like if you created one. And then you've got your zoom, which will increase and decrease the viewing area, not your font size. My mom refuses to use this, even though it lets her see better. She changes her font size, but I mean, you know, that's your mom. So, okay, so any questions about these buttons here? I'm going to go back and click on my print preview, because my print layout, because that's how I want to work. All right, so any questions about that? Are we cool with that? All right, awesome. So I know they were trying to take attendance in here, and I wanted to make sure that at some point we addressed who was participating. So we actually have 8 participants in here right now, and it's Chiquita and Cynthia and Joyce. Oh, Joyce number 1 and Joyce number 2. So we have 7. And Lee and Lisa and Michael and I think it's Natalia. So I'll just take a picture and send that to Jillian because I know she wanted to have an idea. Awesome. Okay, cool deal. All right, so the next thing that I want to share with you guys is if you're using a Microsoft document, a Word document, you've got your tabs along the top. Those are officially called your tabs. Your File tab, your Home tab, your Insert tab, your Design tab, those are your tabs across the top. Each of these tabs is going to release a ribbon, and we know it's called a ribbon because when we were up here on this button, it said Auto Hide Ribbon, right? So this is called your ribbon here, and on your ribbon you're going to have buttons. And sometimes those buttons are going to fall into a group with extra options. And so here, this is my clipboard grouping. Do you see how that's a grouping right there? It's got this little line that goes up and down and says, hey, we're all in one group. And then you've got this grouping right here, which is called your font grouping, and it's got a little line separator there. You've got a paragraph grouping. So every single tab is created this way. So as we're making our way through the tasks and through the topics, we're going to guide ourselves first by trying to say it's on the Design tab, and then maybe say it's in the page background grouping. Now, sometimes these groups will have additional buttons, and that is the More button. And so that More button will release more options to you if what you're looking for is not in the top. Okay? So that's our tabs. Now, the File tab actually brings you to what's called Backstage. And we're going to talk about Backstage for just a couple minutes because Backstage is super important. This is some of the stuff that you will see on your test. When you click File, it brings you, this is called your Backstage View. In your Backstage View, you've got some options over here on the left, which is a secondary menu. If you are checking for accessibility on your documents, you're already familiar with the check for issues, where you can come and say check for accessibility. This has become so important that they now also have that under your review tab, because it's so important right now. So I'm going to come back to my Backstage View, and I want to look at a couple of things, and more importantly, I'm going to look at these properties. These properties are super important to me as an instructor and as a creator of anything. When I look in these properties, it's going to tell me the size of my file. And you know what? I don't really do numbers, so I don't know that I really care about that. I mean, I kind of do. It tells me what size it is, and that's cool. But I'm not really a numbers person. I'm like, oh, that's a big size or a little size. All right. So if that's your take on it too, that's really cool. But it tells me how many pages I have. It'll tell me how many words I have. But this is some of the most important stuff for me. It tells me that I've had this file open for 27 minutes editing it. And sometimes when I'm looking at students' files, that's important to me. However, maybe you have worked on a file and you've got a couple of different copies of it, and you're trying to figure out which one is the most current or the most recent, or when you did the editing, you could come in here and look. This file was worked on for 27 minutes. However, if I leave this file up and I go to the restroom and cook dinner and come back, it's still in editing. So it calculates those minutes while you have your file open. Sometimes on your test, it will ask you to add a title or to add tags or to add comments into your file, and this is where you would find those. The reason for title, tags, and comments is because when you post your file online, and that may or may not be something that you're going to do, but let's say that Fateful Tech asked me for a file. And I said, oh yeah, I can make that. And then they said, we're going to post this online. I would say, that's great. And then I would come in here and strip out everything that identified me. And the reason why I would do that is because once you post a file online and somebody else looks at it and they're like, wow, I've got questions about this file, they can go into the file and see who the author is, and then they can email me and ask me about it. Maybe I don't want them to ask me about it. So you can clear all of this stuff out. But the reason why you would add title, tags, and comments is so that when somebody tries to search you on Google and search the file, they can find it easier. Also, on your own computer, when you can't remember what you've named your file, if you have comments, tags, or title in there, you can search that here as well, and it will help you find that file. This will also tell you when the file was last modified, the time that it was modified, when it was created, and if it was printed. This has never been printed before. However, if I were to come up here and click on print and come back and look at my properties, it says it was printed at 12/23. So if you're not aware of this, your properties are going to track everything in your file, and it's important for you guys to know that. On your test, typically, when it asks you to do something with properties, it's not going to release all of the properties. And so you're going to be tempted to come up here and say advanced properties because you're looking for something more. And also, I'm going to tell you, they cut the screen off about right here. So you're not going to see this, but if you scroll up on your test, there's an option here that's going to say show all properties. And when you say show all properties, you'll get a couple of more options like a subject and a company. And so typically those are the ones that they ask you to do. The other thing that you're going to find in the Backstage View is check for issues. We mentioned that already. Check accessibilities. So you typically are going to get now on your test, you're going to get something that might say, you know, inspect the document and remove all of the author information. And that's what I was talking about a minute ago. Like, so let's say I'm going to put my file online and I don't want it to be tracked back to me. So if I come in here, I can say, yeah, I want to inspect this document. And I can click on inspect, and it tells me I can remove all of the personal information. And that might be a test question, remove all personal information from a file. So if that's going to be your test question, you can come right up here and you can say file, check for issues, inspect the document. Yes, I want to inspect the document, inspect it, and then say, yep, remove all this stuff. You know, when students go to purchase research papers online, the people who sell them remove all of this because they don't want to be tracked back to it. But typically when I see a bunch of stuff has been removed, I know that someone has altered the file for some reason. Okay, so you would say remove all, and then you would say close. I don't really have a need to remove that. But another one that they'll ask you from here is you can go to File, and sometimes they'll ask you to check compatibility. And checking compatibility is just to see if it's supported by other versions of Word. Typically on your test, it's already a lower file and they ask you to convert it. And this box right here that says protect document, at that time in between here, there's going to be a button that says, it'll say, it will, I forget what it's going to say, but it's going to convert. That's what it says. It will say convert it. So there will be a button right here to say convert. But checking compatibility just means, like, you know, with different versions of Microsoft Office, sometimes you have different options available in there. So this will check to see if the options are available for newer or older files. Okay. And the last one, check accessibility. Sometimes you will get that on your test also. And, you know, and what they have now, like I don't have any accessibility issues in this file, but let's say that I inserted a picture. And so now I will have an error. Typically on your test, what it's going to ask you is, you know, find the error that's on the file. And what it's been asking lately is to use the recommendation. And so you come down here and whatever the recommendation is it, do you need a description or is it decorative? You choose whatever the recommendation is. But if they give you a recommendation, it'll always just be one. You won't have to choose between two. All right, so, all right, let me undo this because I don't need that there. What I have here, and what I think you guys have also, is the project tasks that have been on this test more recently. Is this the exact project test that you will get? Maybe, maybe not. They do not release the exact same test every single time. However, I've been giving this test for the past couple of weeks, and this is a pretty accurate idea of what you guys would find if you were to take the test now. So let's take a look at some of these, because really my job is to teach you guys a little bit about Microsoft Office Word and a little bit about the tasks so that you can pass the test. But by learning the tasks, you're also going to learn about Microsoft Office Word. So let's take a look at this very first task that was on Project 1. When you go to take your test is divided up into projects, and you typically have 6 to 7 projects, and on each project you could have anywhere from 1 to 7 questions. So it is, I mean, these were the exact test questions when my dog took the test. These are even worded like you would see them, and I did that so that it would help you. So here, you work for a bank and you are preparing a brochure. Find the word automatic and delete it from the document. Okay, so if this were the case, I would, on my home tab, come up here to find, and I would find the word automatic. I don't know that I have. I mean, I have the word automatic in here. And it says to delete it. If you want to delete a word and you are using Microsoft properly, you select the word. And you know you can select by double clicking. So if I just double click, I've selected it. So when I want to select this one word, if I want to delete it, according to Microsoft, I hit delete on the keyboard. That's how you delete. All right, so that word is gone, right? Any questions about the delete task? Anyone have a question about that? If you backspace it, it's wrong, because backspacing is called backspacing, not deleting, right? So we have to use it properly. We have to use the software properly. So if it were your own file, would it matter? No, but if you're on the test, it does. All right, let's take a look at the next task that you would probably see. Use the word feature to replace all instances of one word with another. So in that case, I'd go to my home tab, my editing grouping, and I would come over here to replace. And under replace, maybe I'm going to find the word automatic, and maybe I want to replace it with, I don't know, fast, whatever. Oh, fasty. That's awesome. That's what we're going to replace it with. So I would want to say replace all. And it will say if it's made any replacements and do I want to finish checking. And so it made one replacement of automatic to fasty. And then it says, hey, guess what? We made 2. And then we're done and we can close out of that. Does anyone have any questions on how to replace one word with another. Cool with that one? Awesome. Double check this chat. All right. So let me hit cancel here. Come out of this. Let's take a look at another task that you could see. And it will tell you in sections that you can find things. Now, what's a section? So a section you're going to find in your navigation. In order for you to get navigation, you must use heading styles. Guys, if you've done anything with this accessibility stuff, you already know how to put things into heading styles so that you can get different sections in there. But I'm going to share with you how to do that. So project 1, if I come up here and make that a heading 1 style, and project 2 might be heading 1, and maybe project 3 is also a heading 1, and project 4 is a heading 1. And what I want to share with you guys is if I look over here under headings, do you see how it's building these headings up over here as we go? And that is your different sections. So your sections are separated out by your heading identifiers. And so now I have 7 headings, 7 project areas that I could look for. That gives me navigation. What that also gives me is if I click on project 4, it takes me to project 4. When you are testing, the best thing that you can do is to try to navigate yourself so that you're able to quickly find items. If you can't quickly find items and you scroll and search, like you're just like scrolling and searching for it, you're wasting time. And if time is not on your side, you probably won't pass the test. So you want to make sure that you know how to use this navigation. If your navigation is not up, you can go to View and choose Navigation right here. View and Navigation. And it will release your navigation pane. Now let's go back to ADA compliance. If I were using a reader, this navigation right here would be my table of contents. And guess what else? If I were in here right now and I wanted to insert a table of contents, I could come right up here to my references and insert a table of contents, and it's going to place it in there for me based off of these projects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And when I click it, it's also going to take me there. Or if I click it over here, it's going to take me there. So I know some people are like, well, you know, I really hate to make that ADA compliant. Really, why? It just helps you. It gives you a visual navigation. It gives you a table of contents that allows you to quickly navigate through your file. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to do this on every single file if it's larger than half a page. So it just makes sense and it's really helpful to you. Are there any questions at this point about adding a style? We added all heading 1 styles. Every time I added a heading 1 style, it gave it a navigation heading. Each of these creates a different section, right? Now the thing is, if you're going to do this, you have to do it to an item that's on its own line. Like for example, if check the, you know, I don't know, check the, well, I wanted it to be heading 1 and I click it, it's not gonna give it the proper heading style, because when you put a heading on something, your item must be on its own line. And all of these files were, all of these, they all had their own line. Project 1 was on its own line, Project 2, Project 3, right? All right, so you can type in the chat. You can unmute yourself if you have a microphone. Let me know, what are you thinking? Do you have questions on using this navigation?
Not so far.
Oh, I heard somebody. What's up? Who is that? Who's talking? Let's see.
Joyce.
Joyce. Hi, Joyce. What's your question?
I don't have one. I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Well, I'm glad I could hear you. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right, cool deal. So we started off on question 3 right here in banking and fees section. So what I would do if I were you, if I were taking the test, and it says in the banking fees section, what I would do is I would come right up here and I would say view, and I would say navigation, and I would find banking and fees over here and click it so it takes me to the proper place, which is going to save me a ton of time. All right. Let's take a look here. It's going to ask us in this question here, in this section, convert the tab delimited text into a 2-column table. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom of my file. Now, next week, whenever we work, I'm going to send you guys out a file to work on so that we can do some of these tasks together. But for today, I'm just going to share with you how to do some of these, okay? So what it's talking about having something that's tab delimited. So let's say that I've got a schedule here. And on my schedule, here, I do actually have one. Maybe my schedule says criteria. Is it yes or is it no? And comments. And then it says hired as qualified. All right, so now these are all separated by tabs. Hired as qualified. Is that yes or is that no? And is it comments? So everything here is separated by a tab. And how do I know it's separated by a tab? If you guys aren't using this button here, dun, da, 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 on your home tab in your paragraph grouping, this button here called show hide, then you, if you're using it, it's going to release to you every single formatting option that you guys have. Did I hit tab? I did, because tab is, guess what? An arrow. Every time I hit tab, every time I hit enter, I get a paragraph symbol. Every time I hit space, I get a dot, but it is not a period because look, it's above the periods. You can look in between each word, there's a dot. That's a space. So this is going to share with us all of our formatting. So I have some content here that's tab delimited, and tab delimited just simply means it's separated by tabs. And it wants me to create a table with this. So in order for me to create a table, I'm first going to select my text, and I want to insert a table. However, I already have text that's there. So instead of saying I want a table that's 2 by 4 or something like that, I'm going to say convert it because my text is already there. And then it's going to ask me, how many columns do I want? Well, I want 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's already identified that because I have 3 tabs, tab, tab, and tab, and it's separated by tabs. And then it's going to ask me how many rows, and it's going to default as 2 because I have 2 rows that were selected. And then it's going to ask me, what is it separated with? If I had this separated by paragraphs, I could do the same. If I had it separated by commas, I could do the same. This one is separated by tabs. It's tab delimited, which means separated by tabs. So now I'm going to say OK, and it just turned that into a table for me. So this question here, I'm going to turn off the formatting so it doesn't confuse anyone. But this question here in the banking and fees section, and we know how to do that. We come over here and click on our section. Convert the tab delimited text to a 2-column table. All right, so step number 1 was select your text. Step number 2, insert. Step number 3, table. Step number 4, convert text to table. Make sure I have it as tab delimited and say OK. If the question tells me to accept all defaults, I'm good to go. Any questions on that task?
No, but I wanted to do that for a long time. Now I know how.
Ah! Awesome. Yeah, because copying and pasting every single one of those words into a table is a pain in the hiney, isn't it?
Oh, God, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good deal. Good. That makes me so happy. Awesome. All right, so we've got tasks. Oh, I don't want to do that. We've got tasks 1 through 3 looked at, right? So we feel comfortable with all of these. Let's take a look at task 4. In the paragraph after the title, and so, you know, I don't have a paragraph and title here necessarily, but insert the table of contents and use, remember this used to say automatic, use automatic table 1. So I actually did this earlier. So I'm going to delete this table of contents. And we're going to do it again. So it's going to tell you that in the paragraph after the title, well, this is my title. Now, this is what you have to be really careful about on your test. If it says that in the paragraph after your title, let's say this is my title, I need to make sure I'm in that paragraph after the title. What if there's a little teeny tiny baby paragraph here I'm not seeing? So I want to turn this on and make sure I'm on the paragraph after the title. Then you can turn it back off if you want. Because if you insert the table of contents in the wrong place, it's not going to count it for you. All right? So in the paragraph after the title, insert the table of contents, use automatic table 1. So in order to insert a table of contents, we go to Reference, Table of Contents, and choose Automatic Table 1, and our table of contents goes right in there. So if you are asked to add a table of contents, first, make sure you're in the right location. If you need to, use your Show Hide button so that you can make sure that you're on the right line. And then you go to Reference tab, Table of Contents button, and select whichever one they tell you, and this one said Automatic Table 1. All right, any questions about inserting a table of contents? Good deal. Awesome. Okay. In the checking account section, in the dark blue text box, insert some text. All right, so it's going to tell me to go to a section. So I would come over here in my navigation and go to that section. And it's going to say that there is a text box there. Well, let me insert a text box. And I do not insert text boxes very often because they're not ADA compliant, just so you know. All right, so we got a text box here, and it's going to tell you in the dark blue text box, insert the text. Guys, that's nothing more than finding the text box and typing what they say. You find it to add any text into any box, into any shape, into anything. If you had a circle added there and they said add the word hi into the circle, you just simply click and type. All right? So it doesn't matter if you've got SmartArt, if you've got a shape, if you've got a text box, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you have, you just select it and start typing, and it's going to put the words in there for you. All right, so this one here should be a really easy one. All you have to do is find the text box and type inside. Now, this is the deal. On the test, if it tells you to add the word hello students, and you type hello students, it's wrong for 2 reasons. One, you could see right here, I've got a space after students. I don't want a space after students. 2, I don't have a capital S. You've got to do exactly what the test tells you to. All right? So that's something to be cautious of. Awesome. Any questions before I move on to number 6? Cool deal. Okay. Number 6. In this section, delete the comment attached to the text. Well, first let me share with you guys how to add a comment. Okay, if I want to comment in here, I can come in here and say insert and comment. And I could say, I learned something. I'm going to close out my accessibility checker just so I can have more room to look. All right, so I have a comment in there. However, let's say that I didn't know I had a comment in there. Maybe see, under my review, it says I have show comments on. What if show comments is off? Well, I'm still going to know I've got a comment because I've got this little icon over here. So on the review tab, I can either say have my comments shown or have them not, but regardless, I'm still going to have this little icon here. Now on your test, typically, when it's going to give you a comment and tell you to do something with it, it will have it released like this so that you can see it. And I actually think the very last test that I saw someone take, it asked the person to resolve the comment. So if you put your mouse over it, you can see it says resolve. And if you resolve it, that means that you have addressed it. It doesn't mean you've changed it. It doesn't mean that anything has changed. It just means that you have looked at the comment. So then you can say reopen. This question here in particular, though, this one says, scroll back over. This question here says, in this section, delete the comment. All right, so if you're told to delete the comment, you could just simply click on the comment and you could say delete. Oh, hold on. Oh, come on. There's typically going to be like a little delete there for you, or you can say delete these options, and maybe that's why the test now says to resolve it. Because the test that just came out, like this past week, it doesn't say to delete it, it says to resolve it. So as long as you know how to resolve it, you're good to go. All right, any questions on how to resolve a comment? Any questions on how to insert a comment? To insert it was pretty easy too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn my comments off so I'm not seeing them. Oh, it's resolved now. I can't get back there. Of course I can't. Resolve. Okay, thank you. All right, if you had multiple comments, you could come up here and say previous comment or next comment, and it will take you back and forth. That's sort of like using like the markup on it, kind of the same option. All right, any question about that? Comments? Good. So out of a total of 7 projects so far, we've made it through one pretty successfully. And I feel like if you guys had to do these tasks, you could do them. So let me see how much you guys have learned today. Oh, you didn't think I was going to ask you to participate. Hey, Chiquita, can you hear me? Do you have a mic? Is she on there? All right, well, I'm just going to open it for anyone. It looks as though Joyce is the only one that's got her mic open. So let's see who can tell me how to do this. If I'm going to ask you how to find a word, what would you tell me? So I'm going to help you guys out. You guys can type it in the chat box. If I'm going to ask you guys how to find a word and delete it, I would first say I would go to the Home tab. I would go to the Find button. I would type the word and then hit delete, right? That's my steps. So who can tell me, so that's number 1 answered. Now I'm going to tell you that just because you saw me do it doesn't mean you can do it. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Like, it's really easy. Like, students tell me all the time, when you're standing here, I can do it. I know, yeah. I know. But you know what? If you write these out, like even if you're not in front of a computer, like you can't work on a computer, if you already know that to find a word and delete it, you go to Home tab, Find button, type word and delete, you've memorized the steps right there. So you don't even have to have a computer in front of you. Who can tell me the steps that we use to replace words? Home tab, then what? Replace button. Awesome. Thank you, Cynthia. Replace button, and then we type it in, right? Good deal. If we want to convert tab delimited text into a 2-column table, the first step is for me to what? Select my text. Then where am I going to go? Who can tell me where I go after I select my text? What tab do I go to? I'll give you a hint. Does that help? I'm going to go to my Insert tab. I'll go to my Insert tab, and then what am I going to do? Lisa was close. Awesome. Click on Table and Convert Text to Table. You see it's grayed out for me right now because I don't have anything selected. I'd have to select my text, go to Table, Convert Text to Table. Awesome. All right. What about number 5? In the checking account section, and we know to select a section, we come over here on our navigation, but how do I get that navigation up if it's not already there? Who can tell me what tab I go to find my navigation? Awesome. Michael's rocking it. Gold star for Michael. View tab and navigation. So I would go to that section, and then it's going to say here, insert a table of contents. Someone tell me which tab I go to if I'm going to insert a table of contents.
Insert.
Insert. Ah, Tatalia's got it. Reference. That one's a tricky one because almost everything else you do, Joyce, is going to be that insert tab. So it's going to get you. But that's okay because I bet your second guess would have been reference. So we're going to go to reference, table of contents, and insert whichever one they tell us to. All right. Then the next task that we looked at was just simply typing text into a text box. Well, you just simply click and type. And the last one is to delete the comments, but you guys are not going to be asked to delete. Yours test is going to say resolve. So where do I go if I want to insert a comment? Who can tell me where I go to insert a comment? Review. Review tab and new comment. Once the comment is in there, if I wanted to make sure I see it, I could come in here under my review tab and I could say that I wanted to see my comments, but I don't have one yet. But now that I do, I can say that I want to show my comments or not, and I would click on resolve. Awesome. So guys, today we made it through only one of these projects out of 7, but look, I'm not worried about this. We actually learned a whole lot today. We learned the quick access toolbar. We learned the title bar. We learned how to show our ribbon, how to release our ribbon, how to hide our ribbon. We learned down here how many pages, how many words, if we've got errors, how to find them very quickly so that we can change and adjust our errors. We learned the different views and the zoom. We also hit it pretty hard for that you can go to view and navigation pane so that you can get that navigation and find what you need. So we actually learned a whole lot. We also learned that if we go to file, that brings us what's called Backstage. And in the Backstage, it's going to give us a whole lot of options in there. One of them is going to be properties. We can say show all properties here, stay away like it's the devil from this. But if you need more, come here and it will release it for you. That's going to be a test question for y'all too. So let me hit up, let's see if we can hit up one more. We got a full hour, so we've got like 8 minutes left. Let's take a quick look at project 2. Let's see what this one has. You're preparing a brochure. You plan to distribute the brochure electronically in print, and it wants you to apply the centered style set. Wow, that T doesn't belong there. Apply the centered style set to the document. So let me share this with you guys. On your home tab, you have over here called styles, right? And these styles here are where you get your headings from, which will give you your table of contents ultimately. But there are other things over there like subtle effect or subtle emphasis or intense effect. And these are all effects that you can add to text. Let me back that up. That's all stuff you can add to text. Now, this question here is going to ask me to apply a style. And you're going to get it in your head. I'm going to come up here because these are styles. But these styles here are only applied to text, small pieces of text, titles, small pieces of text. This question here says it's a centered style for the document. So that's different. Does anyone know where I would go for styles for the document? If I click on my design tab, I'm going to have all of these styles right here. They are not in alphabetical order. Basic, basic simple, basic stylish, black and white capitalized. It changes the look of your document. It's actually kind of neat. Black and white classic. You can see it's kind of changing it some. Black and white numbered. See how it's making some changes? Black and white word. Casual. Title. right? So you can see lines distinctive. One of these is called centered. Did I hit centered yet? Word, shaded. I feel like I hit it at some point. Lines, lines, centered. There we go. And that's what this one was asking. Apply the centered style. So now you know the difference. If you're going to apply a style, it's going to go to the whole document. But if you're going to apply an independent style to text, it comes from here. That's only for text. Awesome sauce? Any questions on that? All right. Well, now guess what? Now you guys know that there is different styles. By going to that design and looking at these different styles, it can update the overall look of your file, and it can make it look really professional without you having to do a whole lot of formatting. So that's always kind of nice. Guys, we actually made it this far. That wasn't too painful, was it? Was it painful? Yeah. All right. Who has a question for me? Anyone got a question? No? Okay. Hey, listen. By the time next week comes, this is what I need for y'all to do. Go to Certiport.com and create your account. It could be that next week you guys are actually going to do virtual, which I'm going to tell you. You might think, wow, I really wanted her to come sit here with me while I test. But I'm going to tell you what the benefit of virtual testing is. One, you're going to be at your own computer. And there's nothing more comforting than sitting in your own environment, knowing that you're using your own computer. Whenever we test, and I bring you the test, you guys get 1970s laptops. They weigh it's like carrying around a brick, and the screen is really small, and it has a touchpad, but I give you a mouse. So if you test and you're at your own environment, it's actually really kind of nice because you know, you're at your own space, you're at your own desk, and when you guys test next time, this first time, it's just like a pre-test. See what you know, get comfortable. I bet you guys are going to see some of these questions on there, and then you're going to trust me when I say you're going to see these questions, because some of the ones we've already gone over, you guys will see those. And then we're going to have class for like 2 more times. We'll have class 2 more times after that, and we're going to hit up all of the other tasks, and then you guys will feel comfortable testing in those. So does anyone have a question about that? Anyone want to express their feelings on it? Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to stop this recording, and this is all we have